Episode 6, dog.
What up?
I'm here with my my good friend Alex Vienna and client. Thanks for joining me, man.
100%. Glad to be here.
I'm super stoked. So we met 3.5 years ago. I remember walking into, I think it was at your house, actually.
Belmont Shore.
In Belmont Shores.
Dining room table.
And how long did we meet for? 3 hours?
At least.
At least 3 hours. Yeah. And typically my meetings when I go meet with someone, it's unless they get really in the weeds about some questions.
Yeah.
They last at most an hour and a half at most. But that additional hour and a half that we had was like, hey, you're a rad person.
Right.
And so I really, really enjoyed meeting that first time. And since then, we've just had a friendship that blossomed. So
certainly
it's been cool because that doesn't happen often in my industry, which is, or not in my industry, but for me personally, I don't have a ton of close friends that are also clients. So I've really, really enjoyed our friendship, and I'm very thankful that you took a chance on us, and we've been able to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm honored. It's been it's been a good journey.
Yeah, sweet, man. So talk to me about your business. So you guys started when?
2001.
Okay.
So bought my first house with my grandfather in 2000. Remodeled it, and we're open for business in late 01. And 6-bed. Bought a 3-bedroom house, made it into a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house, all set up for patient resident care. But you wouldn't be able to tell it by looking in it or outside of it. This looks like a regular house, which is the whole idea.
Yeah.
So you want people to feel like they're in a home, not in some hospital.
Yeah, which is way different. If you go into one of those like state-run facilities,
yes,
that is one of the most heartbreaking things that you can walk into. Is like you see a bunch of old folks that just are neglected.
Absolutely.
It's the only word that I know how to use that is like anywhere close to fair.
They're completely forgotten and ignored. It's horrible. That's why I got into this industry.
Yeah.
Because I was a paramedic, and I went and go visit those places all the time as a paramedic.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So this is, no matter what, it's a step up.
Sure.
There's just like any other business, there's bad businesses out there, and I'm sure there's some bad RCFEs. Actually, I've testified against a couple, but it's still a step up from the massive, it's difficult to describe what pain those people are going through, but you can see it on their faces.
Sure. When
they're just staring at a wall.
Well, they might not be able to express it either. Like, you're not getting that out of them sometimes. Like, these are folks with dementia, like late-term Alzheimer's. And what sucks about it, and it is a problem with our culture, is like our relationship to our parents once they get in a certain age. Like, I think, probably not the only culture, but like we kind of forget about them. Like, we just, hey, you go take care of it. Dad's now hit a certain age where he's just talking nonsense. Like, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. In our culture, I agree. Even in my homes where I care for people, you can see the divide where the certain ages of the kids caring for the loved ones, especially for males like to write the check and not come in and visit. Females, they're there all the time. So I was very glad when I had a daughter.
Sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I got my insurance policy.
Yeah. My Italian grandfather was like, oh, maybe next time you'll have a boy. And I was like, trust me, I have nothing but girls. That'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be taken care of.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So, but it is. And culturally out here, I mean, I have unfortunately seen more families where they can't, a lot of it has to do with they can't deal with it. Mm-hmm. The psychological part of going and seeing mom and mom not knowing who they are. Yeah. It's heartbreaking for them. So
I bet.
And I try to help them understand that it's okay. And there's a lot of guilt involved, and there's a lot of pain that goes along with this. It's a tough journey for everyone. Absolutely.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's for, I think, 14 years.
Yeah.
She just passed earlier this year.
Sorry.
Well, it's okay. My mom was thankful.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens if you've been dealing with it for 14 years. You get in a place where like, this person is gone.
Yeah.
During the whole process, you see flashes of that person again and memories, which is almost the more difficult part. Is you're seeing like, oh, you're still there.
Yeah.
And then a minute later, like, don't even know who you're talking to.
Absolutely.
And so as it gets worse, my grandmother got to the point where it was like, she's just existing as a body, but she's no longer there. And so there is some peace and some positivity about her passing.
Yes. And I will say, even within that part of the journey, like in the beginning stages, there's a lot of heartbreak and paranoia for the individual going through it.
Sure.
They can get angry, they get frustrated, they're really scared. They get to the point where they're oblivious, where they're really just existing. That's actually a blessing in itself.
Whoa. Okay.
So when you see that, because you see the stress that they're going through in the beginning stages, where they're confused and trying to wrap their head around what's going on to them, why they're confused, why they're in a new home, why are they being taken care of. I have residents that we're taking care of their bottom while they're going, what the hell are you doing? You know, when they get past that point where they're not everything is freaking them out, it really is peaceful. It's having that oblivion, getting to that point of oblivion is actually peaceful for everyone.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I never look at it from that perspective.
See it a lot.
Yeah.
They come in on the earlier stages and they're with us all the way till when they pass.
Sure.
And it's it's difficult for the families, and because they want to maintain whatever individual strengths they have. So a lot of family members come in, they push us to push them, and that's frustrating to them because they're getting more and more confused on what to do. And so when the family sees that they're oblivious, they stop pushing and they're able to accept it, and then everybody's in a more peaceful state of mind.
Yeah.
So it's sad, but it's kind of the truth on how that journey goes.
Sure. What so you started this 2001. Your grandmother got diagnosed with dementia, right?
Yeah, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like I said, I was a paramedic before I became an RN. While I was in nursing school in the early 90s, she got diagnosed, and because I knew that this type of care existed, I knew I was going to do it. I was going to do it just to have something to take care of my family. I wasn't going to do it as a career. I was planning on being a flight nurse, and I was working towards that goal. And then when my grandmother, she obviously needed it. She was living with my grandfather in Leisure World, and I did as much for him as I did for her because I knew it was going to kill him trying to take care of her.
Sure.
And like I said, she moved in, I want to say 6 months after we opened, and was with us for 2.5 years, and it saved my grandfather's life.
That's awesome.
He's now. That was in 2000. She passed away in 2004, I believe, or 2005. And he went on to marry again, and then she passed away, and now he's on his third wife.
Whoa.
So he's 93. He keeps outliving his.
He's a real stallion, that guy.
Yes, he is.
Wow.
So
how old is he?
93.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still doing it.
And still doing it well.
Yeah.
Doing
Good for
it well.
him. Man.
Yeah. So, and he's got a sharp mind. I mean, he's got the typical where do I put my keys kind of stuff. But
I do that now.
yeah.
For sure.
It's when you forget what your keys are for. That's when there's a problem.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That's a bigger problem for sure.
Yeah. I forget where I park my car, but if you walk out and you don't realize why you're in a parking lot, that's
you got an issue going on.
You got trouble.
That's super sad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about running a business. So you did not set out to own your own business. You want to be a flight nurse, which means you don't have you have obviously a level of responsibility caring for folks that is extraordinary. But now you have a responsibility to, not only folks giving you their money because they don't, like your RCF don't qualify for long-term care insurance, right?
Well, we qualify for long-term care insurance, but we don't qualify for Medicaid or Medicare, which pays for nursing home care. That's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
So, which is difficult because
most people don't have
long-term care insurance. Yeah. I've probably handled, in the almost 20 years I've been doing this, I've probably handled 8 residents that have had long-term care insurance,
which is less than 5%.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, I probably had well over 150 people come through my doors since the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
Easily.
And only 8 have it.
Only 8. There was 8, maybe 9, but
That
less than 10.
that insurance product is weird.
It
It's
is.
like you have to buy it at the right time.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly when your decline is going to happen. Otherwise, you get upside down on it. It doesn't make a ton of sense.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
But the people that have it, trust me, the families they're in a great place, and they're so stoked that they have it.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is exactly what we needed
Yeah.
it for.
Yeah, because it's all out of pocket.
Yeah.
So most of the time, what I see is families using what they would have had as their inheritance to pay for their loved ones' long-term care.
Oh, geez.
So they have to sell their houses, they sell their
All assets that they've acquired.
that they wanted to leave as a legacy to their kids is now going towards their care. I do have a couple families on rare occasions that they pay out of pocket because their loved ones didn't have anything. So, but it's most of this generation has built something.
Sure.
The generation we're taking care of, which is we're basically our average resident's an 85-year-old female.
Yeah.
So that generation really usually has something, and they're kind of prepared for this.
Sure.
So, but yeah, running the business part, it's just been this really long learning curve. It was I was working 3 jobs and staffing my facility for the first 6 months. So initially I had a partner, a buddy I went to nursing school with, but he got out of it because he just couldn't keep up. It's too much. So he got out of it, but I stuck with it because I wanted to take care of my grandmother.
Yeah.
So by my necessity to take care of her, I was learning business.
Yeah.
You have to learn all your compliance. You have to learn how to, obviously Department of Labor, that's to know half the laws of labor laws, you basically have to have a master's degree.
For sure.
It's insane.
Especially here in California. Like this is the state, man. This is a state which is putting every single burden they can on small businesses, and it's gonna there's going to be a time when the bill comes due.
Yeah.
For all this.
Yeah, I think at some point they needed all this oversight, but the pendulum swung way too far.
Sure.
Even like the job, I had an employee. We have an alternative work schedule, so my staff only work 3.5 days a week, and it's full time. And they get every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday off because you really want them rested and coming in and being happy to be there and happy to have time off. And somebody got into this employee's ear that I was supposed to be paying her overtime after 8 hours. So she took me to the Labor Commission. There is so many laws. I followed the law that I read, and then the Labor Commissioner said, well, you're not registered as an alternative work week employer. And I said, where do you register? And she looks at the attorney for the employee, and he whispers to her where it's at. So she goes, well, it's on page 26, and it says, on the law, it says, recording requirements, see section 8377770.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even tell you that, it just said, go see another section.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying, the labor, that was kind of a real big eye-opener for me, is this how quickly you can get hurt. Mm-hmm. That's why the commissioner actually said to me in the room after they walked out, she said, we're the Department of Labor. We're here to hurt you. Settle this and get done with it.
Oh.
So
we're the Department of Labor. We're here to hurt you. That's scary.
Yeah.
As a business, so we started a business 5 years ago,
right?
And everybody around me was like, "Hey, what are you doing starting a business in California?" And the reason why we did it is this is where the problem from a workers' compensation perspective is most pernicious. Like, this is, if you can solve the problem here, we can solve it anywhere.
Yeah, makes sense.
Other than that, though, it is silly to start a business here.
Yes.
Like, if you were going to go, like, even just going across the border to Nevada, right? A quarter of the laws.
Yes.
That's scary.
And a quarter of the attorneys waiting to
that's true right there.
sue.
Especially in Southern California. We have all of them.
Yeah.
New York and Southern California have all the attorneys.
Yes, and they're all fighting for money.
Yeah.
It's on a regular basis, I would say, not regular, but at least 3 times in the last 5 years, I've had an employee who I fired try to go get an attorney to sue me for something that we didn't do right.
Yeah.
And I've had to defend myself. And I've thankfully, knock on wood, I've won every time. I had to settle that one out for $2,000.
Was that the overtime one?
Yeah, because
That's a very popular one. That's a wage an hour thing that
Yeah.
everybody's getting crushed by now.
yeah. So because I wasn't registered, even though I had the ballots with me, but they wanted 60,000, but we settled out
hell
at
yeah.
2,000. So that was a win.
For sure.
But still, it's just
The amount
crazy.
of time that took and
Yeah.
stress and all the stuff that's not focused on actually caring for your residents.
Right.
Like, it's those kind of things I don't think anybody in, either the politicians or the bureaucracy, like, they don't get.
No.
They don't get what goes into actually running a business, all the things like that fall outside of just the day-to-day. I have to run my business and do exactly what my website says I do.
Right.
As opposed to all the other nonsense that comes with it.
Yes. And because this is elder care, there's a lot of voices because it's really popular to pass bills on elder care reform.
Sure.
So we're constantly having to do new compliances, more training, which costs more money, takes more time, and it's nonsensical stuff.
Sure.
Literally nonsense. We are now having to do, a lot of our staff are having to be trained to bring in a resident that might want to be called a them. We actually
for
have
real?
to do this training for understanding if the resident themselves has a request to be referred to as
Them,
a
theirs,
pronoun.
these, or
Yeah, and I thought this is actual.
and you have to pay
I have
for
to pay for this training. It's wow.
Yeah. Wow is a really good
and
statement.
If
right
you look
there.
at our
It's-
population, it's 80 or older with some type of cognitive impairment.
there's not a lot of Z's or Zers in that population.
No, there's not.
Yeah. Especially that is transition at a time when
Yeah.
they don't,
Yeah,
they're
so
losing their cognitive ability.
yeah, I would say focus more training on helping them understand people with diseases. I have no problem doing that because that's great. That helps.
It's beneficial.
It helps us care for our residents.
Yeah.
But this other stuff, and then again, the challenge for me is knowing that I don't know all the laws. Mm-hmm. So
That's the scary part.
yeah, who do I go to? So like they say, hire an HR firm. I can't afford an HR firm. I'm a one-man band.
Yeah.
I wear all the hats.
Yep.
I do accounting. I do accounts receivable. I do a payroll. I do all the training. So thankfully, there's like whiteboard. Like that's one thing I don't have to worry about.
What's up, everybody? You heard it here first. Yeah.
No, that's huge.
That's the goal, man. Like
Yeah.
that's really what we're trying to build here is a platform that does help the one man bands or even the folks that do have like 5 people in their HR department.
Right.
Like even still, like some of our largest clients utilize our HR platform more than any of our other clients.
Wow.
Which shouldn't be the case because our largest clients have like,
Their own HR.
the highest level of SHRM and SPHRs that you can have, but they're still utilizing because they understand that every 6 months there are radical movements in the way that these laws go, and especially with COVID.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that has come out, like I don't know where this is going to end, but as soon as because there's some smart attorneys on the COVID stuff right now,
Oh, yeah.
and all they're looking for is a place to leverage what's happening. And some businesses not like doing exactly what they're supposed to
Yeah.
put some class action stuff together that is going to absolutely ravage a ton of businesses.
Yeah, I agree. The first few court decisions are going to be big.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to go well in California for
No.
employers.
Well, they never do.
They never do. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it's scary to be a business operating right now.
Yeah, it
And
is.
since it's, especially for you guys probably, again, I think you mentioned that stat, 40% of all COVID deaths are.
Or from nursing homes is what I understood, and it makes sense because you have the vulnerable group of people.
Yep.
In nursing homes, it's 3 to 4 people per room. You have low staffing levels, so you have 30 people being cared for by maybe 3 nurses, and one's only an RN, the other 2 or an LVN, the other 2 are just caregivers. And
Sure.
there's no way they cannot. They can't wash their hands properly and deglove and put gloves back on and make sure that they have a different mask for each patient. They're going to carry it through. The nosocomial rates are the highest rates in skilled nursing homes already.
Wow.
They're petri dishes already. And then you throw in COVID-19, and it makes absolute sense why it's happening.
Yeah. It's mega dangerous.
It's mega dangerous, which hopefully, this will shine a spotlight on something that needs to be fixed. In some way. I just don't know who's going to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. That is a major problem. It's just there's too much work for as many people, and just it is remarkable how unregulated that should be. What you said the regulation earlier.
The Department of we're under the Department of the Social Services, Community Care Licensing, which is Title 22, Division 8, Chapter 16. So hospitals are under Title 22, different divisions, different chapters, but our compliance is all non-skilled. Nursing homes are under Department of Health, so it's a different category, but they're still working with Title 22, which is like your patient care requirements, regulations, patients' rights, things like that you have to always be compliant with.
For sure. What is that? What is the employee or the caregiver to resident
For
ratio?
us, we're basically, we have 12 residents and we have 12 employees. Now, obviously, they're not working all the time.
Yeah.
So, but that's still considered a 1-to-1 staff to resident. But during the day, I have 2 people that are working for 6 residents, maximum of 6 residents, and at night, I have 1 caregiver that is working for those 6 residents. In this industry, you're allowed to allow your staff to sleep at night.
Yep.
So there's no requirement to have an awake staff member in an RCFE unless you're over 16 beds.
Whoa.
So you can have 1 staff member who goes to sleep at night with 16 people that have dementia. That's crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That seems very dangerous.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. We lost a client because they had there's this one law firm that was just down the street from them. I think they had 3 deaths over the course of 3 years.
Oh.
And their like wrongful death was like put on them, and legitimately these folks are just really old, and like any sort of neglect, like they had a bruise somewhere on her arm. I think the claim ended up being like $400,000. Something crazy like that. So her insurance went from like $20,000 to over $250,000 in 2 or 3 years, and not because they like ran a bad organization. It's strictly due to the fact that this law firm knew that they had insurance, and then it was the same law firm just poaching it.
We weren't required. We're the only industry that is required by law to carry professional liability insurance. Most companies do it because it's good practice, but it's not a law.
Whoa.
They actually passed a law in 2014 where you cannot get your license unless you carry 1 million, 3 million. So everybody who had half a brain knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So there was about 25 companies doing insurance. Now there's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because there's so many lawsuits.
It makes sense.
And it's something else I've started doing. I now do expert witness. So I've actually go and testify and get depositions on RCFEs who are being sued, or I'm defending them, or I'm helping the person suing, depending on where I sit right with the case.
Sure.
So, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, I had the last case I was on, the resident was on the couch. The caregiver got up to go get the resident a glass of water. The resident got up, fell, broke her hip. And he came back in, they called 911, did everything right, and they were being sued for personal injury because they allowed her to fall. And then when they were deposing me, and he says, well, shouldn't she have been in there? And I said, it's not 1-to-1 care. You can't, I go, even if it was, she'd turn around, she'd get up and fall. I said, the only way to prevent that from happening would be to tie her down, which is illegal. That was the end of my deposition.
That's great. Did you see how that turned out?
They settled.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
What is, so you said she broke her hip.
Yeah, she broke her hip.
Isn't that the most common?
Yep, most common.
Yeah.
They actually have like an airbag system for elderly people.
Oh, really?
Made in Germany, yeah. And it's like a belt. And
as soon as they start falling,
it's far, and it shoots down like a airbag system. So
is that the most common cause, like a precursor to death?
Yeah. So great story. My grandmother, who I opened my home for, something happened to me. So I just got her back from a walk. I sat her down outside on the patio. I went in to get some water for her. She fell and broke her hip. She ended up passing away about 3 months later because of the hip. And that was with me.
Yeah. It's a good lesson right there. Did you tell that story?
Oh, yeah. I told him that's what I told the lawyer. I said, look, you can't do anything about that unless you tie them down.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna fly for anyone.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a geriatric psych ward where they're allowed to do it.
Yep.
And that's why I try to help families understand when they don't want to use medications to help their loved ones calm down, that's where they'll end up.
Yeah.
And they'll have no say in what happens. So it's better to start trying to be proactive in helping the individual with medications that some people don't agree with, anti-anxieties, antipsychotics, but they help the resident calm down.
Make sure they're not a danger to themselves and others, which is first and foremost.
Because we're in this case of both being sued by the family and then an employee getting hurt.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, we're dodging bullets.
Yeah, you're in a danger zone.
You're in a very danger zone. So it's the amount of years I've been doing this, I'm surprised I'm still in it sometimes,
Well, I mean, it's a testament to you personally, right?
Well, I love old people.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I could sit next and listen to the same guy tell me the same story he's told me 100 times. It's just, there's something about it. I don't know. It's just how I'm built.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky
You care about him. Yeah. I don't think you would have made it if you weren't.
No way.
For sure, because you've probably been sued.
Yeah.
A dozen times?
Yeah. No, I had a family member who, unfortunately, her mom fell in the bathroom and broke her hip, but she came back in and we took care of her till she passed away. And the family was looking at suing us. Well, when the attorney asked for all the paperwork, I sent all the thank you letters from the family members and all the pictures of us together with their mom and saying she was in the toilet. She got off the toilet. We can't be in the room with her while she's on the toilet. That's a personal rights violation. But look at what this family. So somebody's got dollar signs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think it just turns good people bad.
100%. That is the big problem with insurance.
Yeah.
Is like as soon as an attorney finds out it's why auto claims are so large. Is for a lot of these commercial fleets is like, oh, we just want max limits. You have $1 million limit. Cool. Do you have an umbrella?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to tell anybody what your limits are.
Right.
It's because that's what they go after. Where
Exactly.
the deepest pockets. And so that's that whole law that they passed saying, hey, you're required to carry $1.3 million.
Yeah. It took a target on everybody's back. That's all it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That sucks.
Yeah, my insurance went from, I had 3 facilities in 2014, and I was paying, I think, $4,800 a year for all 3 facilities. It's now $12,000 a year for 2 facilities.
Yeah.
And I have one open case that, again, it's same thing. She was on hospice, and she wiggled out of her Hoyer lift, and she got a bruise. But then they took her to the hospital because she kind of had a fall, so they have to take her in. Well, she ended up passing away like a month later, and they're saying, well, it's her fault. I said, well, no, she was on hospice. She was about to die.
That's what hospice means.
That's what this means. So
that's so challenging. I just feel like that should be, there's some reform that needs to take place, especially with someone on hospice. Like that's what that means. It's like, how is there a wrongful death here when someone's on death's doorstep?
Right.
Well, it might sound callous to say, but that's the reality of it is like you're now putting a business owner position where if you have a couple more of those, your insurance isn't going to be $12,000, homie. It's going up.
You're going
out of business.
Yeah, you're going out of business.
And at that point, like especially as like my parents' generation who are like all, 68, 69, 70, like we need a lot more of these facilities.
We do.
I mean, there's a massive hole that we're just kind of neglecting. And going back to the whole state-run facilities, like those things are nonsense.
Yeah.
It's the saddest place that I've ever been. So that's it's difficult, man. Where would you set up shop if you could outside of California?
I'd probably go to Texas.
Would
or
you?
Washington State. But I lived in Texas for a few years. I like it there. So.
Yeah.
And the laws there are just common sense laws.
Yeah.
And
that's there's 12 of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I'd probably go out that way.
Yeah. Texas is awesome. There's a ton of businesses moving to Texas.
So here, it makes sense. It really
Texas,
does.
Nevada, Tennessee, Florida.
Yeah.
You have to, and they should. Like California needs to learn a lesson at some point that if you keep doing this to business owners, like those are the folks that have the ability to move.
Right.
The folks that don't have the ability to move are all like a lot of their employees.
Exactly.
And then you're like, all right, well, there's just not any jobs, and it's gonna get bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do, 100%.
Yeah, so
I see it going that way.
This this COVID thing that has happened, we've been going on 4 months now. You guys are an essential business, which is great. You can remain operational. How has this impacted your business?
It's just kind of given some stress to my employees more than anything.
Sure.
The families understand about not being able to visit, but we've set up visitations. They're literally just a glass window apart. When people do have people on hospice, they are allowed to come in and do visits, and we put them in a room and we just coordinate it so that they come in with masks and gloves, and then and that hasn't been too big of an issue. It's more so just me helping my staff get through it.
Yeah.
Because they know that if COVID comes in, it's because one of them brought it in.
Sure.
So
that's not something they want to live with.
Yeah. So they're all doing their best, and I've given them all extra masks. My wife sews masks for them.
That's awesome.
Just to try to help them, keep doing their job.
Yeah.
Because it's important.
Has that changed their lifestyle at all in regards to are they being extra careful because they know they got to go into work?
They all say they are.
Okay.
So,
cross your fingers.
Yeah, cross my fingers. We check temperatures before people come in, and we do the basics that you can.
Yeah.
I'm sure like a lot of other businesses that are essential, they gave us probably 30 new posters to put up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Our house is now starting to look like just a big magazine.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we're trying to put it in frames and look at as arty as possible, but
sure.
it is what it is. But
how long do you think it's going to last for you guys? I mean, is this just now a permanent thing?
I think it's going to be at least a year.
Okay.
Because until there's a widespread vaccine, which there's never been a 100% vaccine for any coronavirus, not to my knowledge.
Anything, yeah.
So even the flu shot's like 50% effective at best.
At best. And just for one strain of flu.
Yeah. So this is the same type of virus. It's the same type of, although it's more dangerous because you can walk around with it and not know it. Where you get the flu, you're symptomatic within 12 hours.
Yeah.
So you're sick. So stay away.
But you're shedding it's up to 7 days or 8 days, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah, what I'm most worried about is the new normal. That freaks me out. It's just you go out to every single place and everybody's wearing masks. Is this, if we can't get rid of this thing, which I don't think it's going away, is this just how people are going to operate now?
I don't see another way to do it. Unless, I think Dr. Fauci said, is how much human loss are you willing to accept and tolerate to go back to your normal?
Sure.
Obviously, people are itching to get out. You can see it in the news. It's all the younger people, obviously.
Yeah, you go to the bars?
Oh, my gosh.
100%.
Yeah.
Adam in our office was saying, you went down to Pacific Beach in San Diego, and it was slammed.
Yeah.
And it is just a bunch of old or younger people just saying, hey, we're good. Let's get out there and do it.
It's not going to affect me. I'm fine with it. Well, yeah.
That would be the worst, right? You go out, you say, hey, I got hammered one night, and then go visit granddad, and 3 months later, good luck living with that one.
I was just going to say,
that's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Probably already happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's the way things, because nothing's changed with the virus. The whole flattening the curve thing is because everybody stayed home.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that's changed is they're letting you go back to, they're wanting you to wear masks and keep social distance, but they're not.
Yeah.
So they're going back to normal, which is going to cause an uptick.
No matter what.
Spread. Yeah. No matter what.
I never figured out what the point of hey, everybody stayed at home for a little bit. Then what? We just come back out and do this whole thing over again? I don't know, man. It's sad. I hate seeing it. It's one of those things that it's taken a few of our clients. It's hurt a lot of our clients, and it's taken a few of our clients just oh, we got to sell. We're in a position now, for our hospitality clients for sure.
Yeah.
Those guys are getting annihilated.
Oh, yeah,
and it's so sad because it's not anything that they did.
Right.
They were running a phenomenal business. They treated their employees well, had a great culture, delivering a phenomenal product. And the government said, hey, shut down. We got to do this. And then, okay, well, I don't have staying power for 4 months.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm thankful you guys are still good.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's awesome.
I'm thankful there's enough clients to keep you guys in business.
Hell yeah, man. That is the nicest part about us. If our clients hurt, we hurt too, which is great because we're incentivized. How in the world can we go help our clients? So we're trying to push out a bunch of HR stuff, anything from that we can help, because the new law that just passed is COVID is now, and we're having our attorney on to talk about that, is COVID is now a workers' compensation liability out there. And
that's unbelievable.
Incorrigible. It sucks. It's something that it was very thoughtless, and it's going to have ripples that go out for over a decade potentially.
I agree. I mean, it goes back to California's just unfriendliness towards small business.
Yeah.
It's just, it gets thrown back on our shoulders so often.
Yeah.
It's not surprising in the least.
Yeah.
So
whatever, man.
Texas, here we go.
Get it. Yeah. Yeehaw. Let's do it.
Yeehaw. Right?
Well, Alex, I appreciate you coming in, man, taking the time to do this.
It's my pleasure.
I know you got a late to go hit, and
that's right.
We'll let you get out of here and do it.
All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Continue, dog.
Same here.
Thanks,
man.
Thanks, guys.